right in the heart with a silver bullet.
Yeah. I think they plotting on me. Don't fight these beats when they enter the lab. I feel a cold stare. Think I ain't looking. Maybe because I'm focused. No hands out for the hopeless. Funny bullets, I caught some shots. Another piece of the puzzle connected dots. You can find the truth of that in liquor. One more shot to an empty bottle. If you gon' walk it like a model for me, like I don't see her intentions all in my soul. At a time we were just friends, with advice to land. Not special, I was dead broke, but we still got hope. Don't put my words, just back and issue that raw dough. Just back and issue that raw dough. Back and issue that raw dough. To the people that listen to my people, they know that I do care. With their hands in the air, rocking side to side. Now my work, yeah, it's time to ride. Where my niggas at? My niggas ain't my niggas no more. Push me to the back, label to change up his swag. I do it for us, I'm pro-black. Don't rock it the sheet, yeah. Wooden beats all type of African shit. Just rock it, they for fade. Swagger tailor-made. Polo collars and fly kicks. Just polo collars and fly kicks. Exclusive shit, not get wet. Keep it coming, just don't stop. The revolution starts with shots. Bang.
I'm respectful to my people, and I want to represent my people, and I don't want to be a bad representative. I can't be blind, make the blind lead the blind, they all follow you this.
Now my mama said, baby, act like you got sense. They act like I only act right for Lent. Been living in purgatory, but I'm nosing for heaven. Not sure if I'm getting in, cause I ain't paid a reverend. Who looking at me when I ain't looking, judging my character? I can't put down my guard on this planet, packing the camera. Ready for my close-up, the lens gets bigger. Won't play me on BET, cause I am not a nigga. My heart is like a powder keg, ready to explode. Smell like strange food, cause I'm America's cologne. It started with the hello, think you're a nice fellow. You're ballin' like Carmelo, you treat you like Othello. L.A.R. be the stars, turn a rapper to a prophet. Bulletproof 306, keep your hands in your pocket. Jordan rules for my life, you contain them, can't stop them. I'm niggas sky high, so the clouds can't drop them. My life is like a miracle, my words are just imperial. I'm edible, I'm audible, I'm digital, I'm visual. Spit like Komodo, go like Bruce Lee, Roy beating the mean as bad as Mofo in the dojo. Life is so amazing and raps like Jesus. They said hip hop is dead, but today look like Easter.
Now I wake up in the morning, I'm black and handsome as ever. However, you see me a strange fruit, will it ever happen, not again. A crook and just a homicide, he know it's self-defense. But since I'm black and since he white, he got no common sense. That's 1969, and he ain't Jesus Christ. He ain't coming back on Easter, he ain't got a second life. You know I'm right? Hold up, look. Now the sirens in my window here, pull it over. License and registration, gun ain't never in the holster. Plus, that man black too, he wanna act too. A nigga with an attitude and a badge too. A couple tattoos, hoping I act a fool so he can squeeze too. But it ain't nothing different, they the same thing. They pull him over, he gon' get the same thing. Maybe two up in his brain, 21 gun salute. Last words was I'm a copy, last heard fuck you. And he ain't coming back. You know I'm black like Jesus, but I ain't coming back for Easter. Y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry. Second line, but when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home. They know I'm black like Jesus, but I ain't coming back for Easter. Everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye. Second line, but when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone. And now she want welfare. Lost said that they can't live there, so we ain't there. And life ain't fair, but the food free and the rent cheap. His roaches where you sleep. He still came around and taught you baseball. Bought a Barbie doll, he raised all of y'all. And now the kids adults, they both up in the court. She want that child support, he on that child support. But he ain't never taught him baseball, and she ain't never bought him Barbie dolls. They both never there, no, never, not at all. Saying, well, pull your pants up, go while your ass out. They looking back saying, why, y'all ain't ever in the house? You got it backwards, don't you? I'm saying, cause we still preaching unity, and it's supposed to be family first in community. Got it in church to $1 for your blessing. We made in God's image, thinking with Saint's mind. They got us crossed up, now Judas is Caesar. America bury me, but I ain't coming back for Easter. Yeah, they know I'm black like Jesus, but I ain't coming back for Easter. peace to y'all, say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line, but when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line, but when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna have some interesting things to talk about today. So, if y'all don't know, but you should, because I put it up a few times, I have a special guest, none other than the old man, Mumia, Obsidian, Ali. And we had a great chat, what was it, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. So, now, you know, we're going to talk about some current event type things. So, oh boy. Hold on, folks. So, Obsidian, are you there?
Yep. What's going on, brother?
Oh, not much. So, on a daily basis, I upload videos, right? My goal is to get 7 days ahead. So right now I think I'm at 5 or 6. But today I had a topic, and I figured part of that topic can be talked about. But I want to talk about some other things also. Can sex actually cure the animosity in the black community?
What?
Oh, let me speak up a little bit. Tell me, can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Go ahead.
I was asking, can sex actually cure the animosity in the black community?
No.
See, so I gotta start going there then. So what can actually cure the animosity?
No, it's not going to kill any animosity. No.
No, I'm saying what actually can. I don't believe it can either. But
yeah, the idea that sex
can.
The idea that more sex can solve animosity between black people. No. What's going to solve the animosity issue between black men and black women? Well, first of all, the first step is that we got to have the willingness to have the conversation. And both sides are going to have to be willing to, listen to some things that they don't want to hear. So that's really what it comes down to. I mean, like right now you said you want to talk about current events. Right now, there's a article, you probably heard about it, on Psychology Today, talking about the rise of lonely single men. And I wrote a response to it today, posted it all over, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, where I made the case that if indeed that's true, then single mothers are to blame for that. If we have a bunch of men today between the age of 21 and 54 that are emotionally unavailable, that are poor communicators, that, et cetera, they make for bad mates. Well, where did they learn all that from? Who taught them that? And of course, a lot of black women will say, well, the fathers weren't there. Well, that means he didn't learn it from the dad. So who did he learn it from? In the United States, in the black precincts, single mothers is the predominant, family form. So if you got a bunch of black men, for example, that are bad mates, where did they learn all this from? You can't blame it on the dads because the dads wasn't there. You want to say that the dads wasn't there and taking care of their responsibility? Okay. But ladies, you chose to have children with guys who weren't good dad material.
You know what?
So I mean, so my thinking is, go ahead.
We can take this somewhere, and I'm gonna use myself as an example.
Yeah.
So for all you people who don't know, I wrote a book years ago called Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father. The pandemic hit. My son failed his freshman year of high school. Him and his mother got into it. He ran away. She said he can't live there anymore. I was like, just send my son. I'll handle it. So last year, he had to start over his freshman year here with me. Him and his mother started to reconnect. He failed one class in his spring semester. So he played football and basketball, did his classwork, but I had to be on his head about a lot of stuff.
Right.
And he had to go to summer school for one particular class. At that particular point, him and his mother got so cool again that I went to work the last day of summer school because he had passed like 2 days prior.
Right.
The last day of summer school, I come back home and he's gone. She picked him up and drove back to Georgia with him because I actually have a custody hearing in a month.
I'm about to say you're in Texas,
talking
right?
about Yep.
Wow.
So I say that to say, and I'm not the only guy who's been in a situation like that, but I still, like I said, I got a hearing in another month because everything was supposed to change over after the hearing.
Well, you know that
happens when
you know that statistically, when dads, basically de facto single dads, the kids have better life outcomes than they do when they're with single moms. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Statistically, that's true. They get better grades, less juvenile delinquency, less drug use, less going to jail, less children out of wedlock. You know, the whole bit. I mean, they just fare better across the board. So if you got to be a single parent, be a single dad. Because statistically speaking,
of what you were talking about,
better under a single dad than they do a single mom. That's a fact. And you're reporting right now bears that out.
And that's the thing. What I was relaying, I wanted to put that out. You know, whenever people see the live or whatever, when they come back to see it, is at the end of the day, when you were talking earlier about how the relationship dynamic and blaming the fathers. The issue is, what if fathers don't teach this type of behavior? And the behavior that these ladies are complaining about, as you said, is something they were taught by the mothers. But subsequently, people don't talk about the moral compass between men and women is completely different. So the guys that you're complaining about have your moral compass.
Right.
And since they have your moral compass, they're doing this type of stuff you would do. And the irony of it is, it's okay when you do it, but it's bad when it's done to you.
Yeah, it's bad, man. And like I said, on the shade room over on Instagram, black women are dancing in the streets talking about, women are raising their standards. I'm like, you do realize that this is a poison pill, right? You do realize that if you're saying that most black men are dusty, then who taught them to be dusty? Where they learn the dustiness from? Where they learn the bad communication from? Do you know that black boys in the black precincts across Black America barely know how to read at an 8th grade level? Do you know that?
Oh, I know.
Most of them don't even reach 15% proficiency in reading at 8th grade. Where did they learn that from? They didn't learn it from the dads. If the dads ain't there, they couldn't have learned it from them. So where did they learn it from? Black women are creating the black men that they complain about, and they don't even see the connection. And Dr. Jordan Peterson talked
in my
about
opinion,
this.
They do. There's no, I gotta do it. The connection is, how many black boys have you seen in your area that wear a bonnet right now?
I
Because
haven't
I've
seen
seen
any yet.
See, teenage boys are wearing bonnets, and their moms are cool with it. Teenage boys are overly concerned about their hairstyles and hair colors, and less concerned about their actual cognitive and manual skills. They're raised to basically be pretty. So it doesn't. That's why I used to say, why I call people himbos, the rise of the himbo, because guys are raised to be himbos. You're just supposed to be a dumb buck. And a lot of our community, just when you talk about the men are lonely,
I'm accepting their argument. All right, fine. If you want to tell me that there are lonely single men out there in the black community, if you want to tell me that these men don't make for good mates, my question becomes, where did they learn that from? Because we know they didn't learn it from the dad, because the dad wasn't there. So if you want to tell me that the dad needed to take responsibility, take responsibility for something he didn't teach? He didn't teach those guys to do that. Where did he learn it from? He learned that behavior from his mama. And we know that women in general, black women in particular, have the highest divorce rate. Did you know that women have the highest divorce rate even when they get with other women? Lesbian marriages have the highest divorce rates of everybody. So they're going to blame men for that too? They have the highest divorce rates. They have the highest infidelity rates. They have the highest domestic violence rates. You can look it up. That's a fact. It's one of those dirty little facts that nobody wants to talk about in our woke age. So you're not supposed to talk about that because it makes the rainbow people look bad. But that's just the truth. Lesbian women have the highest divorce rates, the highest domestic violence rates, the highest infidelity rates. That's a fact. So again, if black men who were once black boys are not competent to be in relationships, where did they learn that from? Where did they get it from? The conclusion is inescapable. They got it from their mama. That's simple.
True. The irony of that peace and the loneliness is, like you said, you accepting the argument. You're acting like the counterparts have options. Black female counterparts don't have options because it's
black women are the most single people in the country. We know that. Black women are the most single people in the country. Time magazine confirmed it. A lot of different places. Black women are the most single people in the country. My man over on the Piece, I can't remember his name right now. He just confirmed the fact when they talked about it. He confirmed the fact. Well, black women do the worst on every dating app known to man. So where are we supposed to go with that? And again, I always say, look, I can accept that black men black men in this case aren't very good, relationship partners. My position is, where did they get it from? Where did they learn it from? I say they learned it from single moms. Single moms have destroyed black men. That's just the fact. You just can't get past it. You look at every place in the black precincts, right here in my hometown of Philly. Atlanta is another example. Chicago is another example. Look at all the people that's doing the gangbanging and turning up and all the rest of it. You think they came home? You think they came from a Winslow background and Family Matters? No, they came from single mama-led homes. And I don't get why we just can't say that.
To me, we can say it, but our community falls on deaf ears. Like, if there was a way to spin it to blame black men for black single mothers' behavior, and actually be looked at as a person that has sense, our community would do it. Like, I think we're the most Mother Stockholm syndrome looking community on the planet, because if a woman does something, it's just overlooked. The problem is, even with the loneliness piece and the raising, is I just want to add a little curveball to this. Who said you were supposed to be in a relationship when everybody is in hookup culture anyway? How now you want? See, we have this dual, not just dual mating strategy, but this double-minded bipolar psychology where I want to be in hookup culture, but now I want to be in a relationship. And it's like, you can't have both. You got to pick one.
Right.
So you get to pick hookup culture when it's convenient, pick relationship when it's convenient, pick single motherhood when it's convenient, pick absentee father when it's convenient. But nobody ever actually talks about the time frame. Which one came first, the chicken or the egg? Did you choose hookup culture, and now that you're lonely, now you're saying, you know, people are lonely because they're just lonely, or is it you just been hooking up?
Right. And that's why I'm with it. My position is this is insane, man. It's ridiculous.
But I think, you know, I think I think we have a problem in our community with Peter Pan syndrome, because the older I'm getting, the more I'm seeing people who think too young. Like,
what do you
mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean by think? What do you mean by think too young?
30's the new 20, 40's the new 30, 50's the new 40, 60, you know, 60. Oh, you still a baby? What the fuck? How much time you really think you got on this planet?
Well, again, where does this notion come from? Does it come from the men, or does it come from the women who didn't inform the men in the form of, you know, being parents and stuff like that? And you know, why I'm on that point, because I know people listening, you know, some of them at least, are going to say, well, what about the dads? My position is, yeah, what about them? It seems like to me the dads is an afterthought when things go bad. When everything is going right, or when nobody's saying nothing, nobody's really talking about the dads. So it seems like to me that they're the cleanup man again. Instead of just, you know, doing my position is, if you're gonna have single parents, let them be single dads. Then we can focus all the stuff on them. If the kids are jacking up, then we can blame the dads for it. But until we get to a point where the majority of single parents in the black precincts are single dads, I'm going to focus where the blame rightly belongs, on the single mothers. You are responsible for the people in your charge under your roof. And if they're jacking up, it's your fault. Period. No wonder so many black men are irresponsible. They get it from their mama, because their mama irresponsible. Don't want to take any accountability. So again, black women are creating the black men that they complain about. You talking about black men don't want to take any accountability. Look in the mirror. That's simple.
I've had this talk with my own mother about this, and women in my own family, and just friends also. It's interesting that a lot of mothers, grandmothers, aunts in particular, don't tell their sons, their nephews, you know, cousins, grandsons, that, by the way, consequences aren't gender neutral. So you raise the boys like they're girls, but you don't tell them that, oh, girls get away with this type of stuff, boys don't. So you have these boys hitting a wall in life because they think, oh, well, you know, my mom did it, my aunt does it, my little cousins do it, my auntie does it, everybody does it.
Yeah.
But it's a quote unquote matriarchal or gynocratic household, so they don't stand out and say, wait a minute, does this work for me too though? And it doesn't.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why we got so many brothers winding up in the joint. Look, I am sick and tired of these conversations because we refuse to say things, to call things for what they are. If we're going to have conversations about men in general needing to be better, then we need to talk about how they got so jacked up in the first place. You cannot solve a problem until you get to the source of the problem. Otherwise, you're just putting a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. If we're going to fix the problem, then we got to get to the source. The source of the problem is single mothers, period. fix that, we can have a chance at fixing the other problems. But if we're not talking about that first, right off the rip, then you're not serious. I would tell that to anybody, any psychologist, any policy wonk, any sociologist, you name, or life coach, whatever. I don't care. If you're not talking about dealing with the source of the problem, you're not serious. That's simple. Especially in Black American society. If you're not talking about single moms, you're not serious.
You know what? I haven't made the video about this, but I'm gonna ask you, because I think we're at a point in our society where we're just letting women experiment with people's lives to see if women are actually better at it than men, and nobody and everybody is treating the results like, you know, they're one off. Oh, that was just that situation. Oh, that was just that one. Oh, that's just an anomaly. And it's like, if you got a million anomalies, it's not an anomaly. Because
right.
when I think about how we approach this, it's like, okay, let a lady do whatever she wants to do. Let's see how it works for her. Right. Oh, that didn't work out. Okay, let her try something else. Okay, she has a kid, let her try something with the kid. Let her try something else with the kid. She's in a relationship, let her try something else with the relationship. She's got married, okay, let her try. She doesn't like it, let her try something else. So it becomes a big just blow up everywhere you go, and you forget if you're gonna play this little chemistry experiment, stop asking other people to clean up the room. If you're gonna blow up every experiment you got, you need to fix it. Don't call a janitor in and say, "Oh, we just gonna try something else."
Right.
Because at some point you got to be looked at as incompetent.
Yeah.
And I think it's misogynistic nowadays to call a woman incompetent. It's like,
well, no, it's not misogynistic. It's accurate. If you're a competent woman, nobody can deny it. Now, you want to talk about calling a woman that's competent, incompetent, when she's clearly, not that. She clearly is competent. Then, yeah, you can make a case for misogyny. But if a woman is clearly incompetent in the matter at hand, no, you're not being misogynistic. You're being honest. And again, I say again, if indeed we have a rising tide of ineffective, incompetent, poor communicating, emotionally unavailable Black men, then Black single mothers are to blame for that because they raised them. And they are incompetent at raising healthy, well-adjusted, emotionally available, competent, communicating Black men. Period.
Well, let me pivot for something. If that's the case, then we got to ask I want to ask another question about this. So first, on a grading scale, you're saying women are F at raising competent men or D at raising competent men?
Black women overall, the evidence is pretty clear on this. Black women overall are not very good at raising competent kids, boys in particular.
Okay,
they're not very good at it.
I'm going somewhere with this. So I'm a D. You got a D. So how good what would be the grade of Black women raising competent women? Because we see it in all of these social media interactions. You just got to press play.
Right.
So if I say the boys got your grade for raising the boys is a D. Me personally, I say your grade for raising girls is a D2. And the only reason I give you a D because they've got a lot of exceptions to the rule that we go with. But I don't think the exceptions to the rule are based on good parenting for the most part.
Right.
I think the people who are actually good parents are in the lane of their own.
Right.
So the reason I'm asking this is for this. If the boys grow to be men and they can't communicate, and they're not competent. And the girls can't communicate and they're not competent. Basically, both being raised without common sense to think that they're both better than each other. Because for me, it's looking like the women are pointing to say you're not good enough, and the guys are starting to go, you know what? Neither are you. And either side can't even see any room for improvement.
Right.
And mom when you're grown, gets to walk off and say, "You grown now. You should know all of this stuff that I didn't teach you immediately."
Yeah.
Oh, I'm about to be petty, bro. I had this talk with my son, and I told him, I said, "Listen, you have to be taught how to be an adult. The minute I said, you shouldn't, if you fight being the teaching, that's going to be a problem for you. So, but don't think you're going to wake up at 18 years old or 21 and everything that you didn't want to learn or weren't taught is going to pop into your head."
Right.
But unfortunately, in our community, that's how most kids are raised.
Right. I mean, and look, I mean, we if we're going to, like I said before, if we're going to be serious about this, then we have to, be honest about it. If we're going to really deal with these problems, like I'm using this Psychology Today article gone viral as a case in point. If we're really going to get to the bottom of things, then we got to be honest. And the simple truth of the matter is that these people that we see walking around today, black men, black women, where do they get their behaviors from? Where did it come from? It came from somewhere. Where did it come from? For my money, it came from, single moms. They got it from their mama. And if we're not willing to be able to say that and deal with that, we're not going to move forward. It's that simple.
How good of a man or parent, man, woman, or parent can you be if you were raised by a single mother and now you became a parent and you're raising your child with the same mindset your mom gave you?
You know what? That's a damn good question. I have no idea because I wasn't raised by a single mom. I was raised in a 2-parent home, and my dad's rule was law. So, and I spent the majority of my time around him and other black men from the age of 7. So, don't get me to line. I don't know how I don't know how to answer that question from an experiential standpoint, but it's pretty clear to me what the problem is. And it seems to me that our society just doesn't want to go there because it might make, single moms feel bad.
I'm saying this for a reason. Did you hear about the shooting in Dallas at the Little League game?
Yes, about the brother, the football, Pee Wee League football brother. He got shot by another guy or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know who? I hate to bring him up, but that was Aqib Talib's brother. That was the shooter.
What?
That was Aqib Talib's brother that shot the guy.
Wow.
And the reason I asked the question about, if you're raised by a single mother, how do you wind up raising people is because, for y'all who don't know, that was a 9-year-old game. They're 9-year-olds.
Yeah, Pee Wee League. Yeah.
But people don't realize in the last year,
right,
between that and AAU games, there've been a lot of fights.
Wow.
A lot of fights. You people, I don't know if you remember the story. One got beat up. They jumped another ref. A ref punched a coach, or got jumped by players. This violence is happening far too often at Little League games. And why I'm bringing this up with this is because whether people like to admit this or not, this is what happens when you want your child to become a professional athlete to save you. You suck the fun out of these little boys' lives. they can't have a passion because you want them to be a superstar to pay your rent. Now, the reason I brought up Aqib Talib's brother is because that mindset of going somewhere, yelling at people, barking at people, getting unnecessarily loud and argumentative with people, that doesn't work well with men. So you have grown men who are raised predominantly by women whose first option is when they get upset, they start popping off at the mouth real crazy. Not understanding, I'm not talking to a child here. I'm not talking to my child. I'm talking to another man. And since he's a black man, I'm not gonna respect him the way my mama didn't respect black men.
Right.
And then when you get a response like, "Oh, y'all make you respect me," then you go off and shoot somebody.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, it's sad. That was really, when I heard about that, that was really sad. I was like, wow, shooting somebody that's I mean, I had a football game, is Pee Wee League, and you got little kid. I mean, wow, it's deep.
Now, and I'll be in full disclosure. When I was in Little League, I remember a guy coming up to our practice to fight our coach and pull out a gun. So I'm 42. That was what? That was 30 years ago? Right. No, I take that. I was 11. Because I was 11 when that happened. But basically 30 years ago.
Right.
So for me, that's nothing new. Now, so the reason, the other reason I'm talking about that, like you were talking about psychology today, for some odd reason, let me ask you this. Did you see the story about the CPS worker that told the young lady that she should just be a prostitute?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Okay, here in Houston, this is gonna go into what you're talking about. 14-year-old girl is a runaway. She keeps running away, cutting up in school. Her mother gave her to CPS because her mother is a mother of 9. So here they got like a bunch of basically what you would call it, teenage kids that you probably don't want to adopt in hotels. That's where they're staying. So now you have like sex trafficking or alleged sex trafficking going on. So this young girl videotapes the CPS officer telling us, since you're gonna be a thot, you might as well be a thot and make some money. I mean, you can make $1,500 if you do it.
Right.
So the girl records it, saves it, sends it out, it goes viral, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Now, black girl, black woman CPS work. Black mother. Now, ultimately, I asked the question in the video, and this keeps happening. Why, if you're a mother of 9 and you give your child away, why not give that child to the father?
I agree with that. I think that should be the the obvious choice.
Hold on for 1 second. The reason why this is a problem, because guess what happens when this girl becomes 18? Guess what she's gonna be? Stripper, because Houston got like the second most amount of strip clubs in America.
Wow, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought it was number 1, but somebody told me Portland had more. And I was shocked by that. But Houston is a gang of strip clubs here. It's just more than Atlanta, more than New York. It's just a lot of strip clubs. So, and okay, let me do this. Let me do this. Let me take this to. Do you think these mothers are raising these kids to be overly sexual?
I think that's pretty obvious. Studies have been done that show that when girls come up in fatherless homes, they get their monthlies earlier. So that fact alone pretty much answers itself. Did you know that?
I heard it. I haven't researched it, but I've heard it.
Oh yeah. When women have when girls are raised in fatherless homes, they get their monthly cycles earlier than normal. So
now you're not gonna like this story, but it's a true story. So last year, I asked that question for a reason. Last year, my son meets a girl at school, likes a girl at school, and subsequently he wants to talk to her, but she's feeling him, but not so much. And I'm like, she might be dealing with other people. He's like, I don't know about it. About a few weeks later, he was like, what about the little girl you like? He's like, nah, Dad. She got like 3 sex tapes going on in school right now.
Wow.
And like, what?
That's deep.
But we don't talk about this. Like, you've been on YouTube for a very long time. Do you remember there was an old video called the Herschelwood Bust Down?
No, never heard of it.
Remember years ago, before YouTube would monetize videos, they had this tendency to have explicit videos on YouTube?
I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, well, they did.
Okay.
YouTube videos, a little girl, a teenage girl in Herschelwood, it's part of Houston, third ward, fifth ward, I forget, off the top of my head.
Right.
So basically, this little girl got a train ran on, and they uploaded it.
Wow.
And they got it on YouTube, and then YouTube. It took YouTube a while to catch it, and then they caught it and took it down.
Okay.
Now, the reason I'm bringing up all of this and all this parenting, there was a viral video not too long ago about she's not a young lady, a woman saying she slept with a guy and his mother.
Right.
So it's like, okay, and I think that she wound up saying that subsequently the guy was Italian. But it's interesting to me that ladies have this issue with Me Too and R. Kelly, but don't have this issue with Antoine Fisher. Mm-hmm. So if our kids aren't safe and they're taught to be hypersexual and taught to have less morals, and subsequently this goes out into the public,
right?
The only thing I want to know is, at the end of the day, is a part of Black America wrong for separating?
No. I mean, do you want to actually raise your kids around that? Now, no, I don't, and I don't even have kids. But I don't want to, operate with something like that. No.
Well, here's the problem. That behavior is becoming increasingly prevalent in the suburbs.
Wow.
See, the one thing that we don't talk about Black culture is we consider Black culture just hip hop culture.
That's true.
I gotta give a shout out to Edward Anderson about that, because now we're just taking hip hop culture or street culture everywhere we go. And the problem is, you're not even, a lot of us aren't from the streets anymore. A lot of us aren't from tough neighborhoods. There are too many suburban black people now who are posing to be degenerate to say that they're black.
Right. Pretty messed up, man. Pretty deep.
I gotta ask, just for the record, just for the record, Obsidian.
Yeah.
When I saw the shootings going on in Philadelphia, right?
Yep.
And I saw the ages. And the same thing as in Chicago, same thing as in New Orleans. And it stems back to parenting.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff went on over the summer.
Yep. And we don't want to say it because we don't want to make anybody feel bad.
Right. Does anybody not want to admit that these are school-age kids, kids who are for the most part, in high school, running out doing this?
Yep.
Stealing cars, breaking into homes, robbing people at gunpoint, shooting people, killing people accidentally, killing the wrong person. Like, with all of these cameras around, we're not going to say, okay, that kid's like 16 years old.
Yep.
That kid right there looks like they're about 14. This kid right here is probably 18. What are they doing?
Yeah. Sad, man.
Now, I'm trying to not say some of the things I want to say because we're trying to clean up our not just image but our conversations to not say something that'll get this stuff shut down.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
Let me pivot to do this. As you talk about St. Kevin, right?
Yep.
And you see Kendra G, and you see shows like Crew Season. You see the Lapeef Network. Do you think Black America is going to have a tipping point where we actually look at women for what they put themselves out to be?
I would like to think so, but it looks like we got a little ways more to sink before that happens. Unfortunately.
How far down do we have to get?
I think we got to get a good bit more farther down, brother. Unfortunately, it's kind of sad to say that, but I've been kind of, I don't know. I guess you could say I've been kind of rebranding myself of sorts since late last year, I guess you could say, and or the fall of last year, and in earnest. I've been actually doing it on a slow creep over the past 4 years, but definitely in earnest since last fall, and I've just been pulling back from a lot of this nonsense on social media and YouTube. I just don't even bother with it. Right now, there's supposed to be a deal with essentially Kendra G is now taking on Kevin's whole thing about don't use my content and stuff like that. And you want to know something? I agree with her. I think brothers shouldn't use her content, reaction videos and that sort of thing. She's kind of going after brothers for doing that. And my thing is, you know what? And this is just my own personal opinion. Whatever you get out of it isn't worth it. You get views and subscribers or whatever. Is it really worth it, man? At the end of the day, my thing is, I would rather have a smaller audience of people that are really, of like mind to myself, than to just appeal to a whole bunch of people who really just there for some bull crap and some nonsense. So my thinking is, I talk about Kendra G very little. I have nothing personal against her. I wish her all the best. I just focus on doing what I'm doing. And, me and my lady friend, I don't know if you heard it, but me and my lady friend, we have our podcast that we do together, and we're trying to show what an actual black couple looks like in real time. A Gen Xer black couple with that, which is kind of rare. You don't see many black Gen Xer couples doing things together, not just online, but off. You go out into the real world, you don't see many Gen Xer couples, people, 40, over 40. You don't see many Gen Xer couples doing anything. Kendra G is a Gen Xer, and she's single, and statistically speaking, her chances of getting married and having kids are very low at this point. So my lady friend and I, it was her idea actually to do these podcasts together, and they have a small but dedicated following. We're going to continue doing that. I'm going to continue on the path that I'm on. I want to. We talked about Kevin Samuels. I think that the post Kevin Samuels period is going to be a lot different than it was when he was alive. The next phase with that is actually making black men into the best version of themselves. And that's not going to be very popular among a lot of black men, because a lot of black men are still locked into whoop that trick. And I understand why. I understand why they are. And it's a big ask to ask black men to move on when black women will not admit that they're wrong. That's a big ask. We're asking, I'm asking a lot of black men. It's a big ask. And I understand if a lot of black men just can't bring themselves to do it. I get it. But I just don't. I don't know, man. I just don't have any interest in the effery anymore, like that. I just don't. So
now, I will say, people might say, "But Obsidian, you had, you were the king. You used to black female effery, right?" Now I have no problem.
And I still do. I mean, what we talked about earlier in this conversation was BFF at its finest.
Yes. But here's the interesting thing about what you just said. I was talking to a fellow YouTuber about this, about Gen X in particular, because I'm in Gen X. Because I'm at the tail end, like. Yeah,
millennials started 1981. Yeah, so Gen X goes to 1980. So yeah.
Right, I was born at the end of '79. So
yeah, you're 10 years younger than me.
So the thing about it is, I was telling him, I said, between people in my age group of Gen X and say the older millennials, I was like, a group of us, we don't want to admit this, but there's a group of us that are just stuck on stupid.
Yeah.
And a lot of these shenanigans that go on is because there are too many people in that demographic. I would say, since I'm 42, I would say 42 to say 33, who just, in honesty, have no intentions to grow up. And because of that, you don't see functional things anymore. And people like myself, we know what functionality is and what works and what's efficient. But truth be told, a lot of us, and I hate to say this, and I blame boomers for things before, but a lot of us don't want to admit that a lot of us watch boomers in the greatest generation actually be responsible adults, and we didn't want to do it. So right. That spills into our black community as far as relationships. Because, and I was telling the brother on YouTube, I said, this is the thing about the people talking about dating coaches and game and this, that, and the third. And I was like, the problem, especially with older guys in this age group from Gen X to millennials, you can give them all the game in the world, they're just not going to do it. They just want to hear game over and over and over and over again, but they won't implement it. And that's something you didn't learn from boomers. That's something you didn't learn from the greatest generation. Those were hands-on people who taught you how to do something, maybe once, maybe twice, ran you through the whole process. And if you came back to them with dumb questions, they got in you about it. Mm-hmm. So saying what you're saying about you and your lady, which is dope, by the way.
Right.
And harken back into the lonely conversation. We have a group of our people who are perpetually stuck in high school. And all of our relationship woes and our adult woes come from the fact that we just haven't left high school and we don't want to leave. Because when I'm seeing all of this interaction and going back and forth, I'm seeing people in Arrested Development because it reminds me of being in college. And when I was in college, I noticed this, that there were people who didn't really want to graduate because they didn't want to be in an adult world. You know, they were a senior for 5 years. You get what I'm saying? They were in school they were failing classes on purpose. They were taking the bare minimum and changing their majors at the last minute because they didn't want to deal with it.
Right.
So I try to be, I don't try to be pessimistic, but I think we as a community, we're not going to make it just because we have too many childish people who are portraying themselves as adults. And that goes into the relationship.
That's pretty deep. That's pretty deep.
But like, I'm Obsidian. I'm really trying to find kinder words to say what I want when I'm thinking, and it's very hard. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Because, as a matter of fact, let me say this: you've rebranded yourself.
Much to the chagrin of some people, I might add. Much to their chagrin.
And people know, like, if you come to my channel, and, you know, my uniform is just normally a t-shirt and a ball cap. And I tell people all the time, I used to say this all the time, I'm relaxed at home. I work outside all day. So when I get home, I chill out, I take a shower and chill out. But I do not dress like this, going out all the time. That's not how it goes.
Yeah.
And you as a blue collar worker, you know this to be true, that you might wear your work stuff so much that you have a closet full of great clothes that you got to put on when you go out.
Oh yeah.
So people don't realize, and thank you, Ray. You know, people don't realize that what we're doing now is when people are growing or just showing a different side of themselves, we're stuck. Because when you having a blazer, a shirt, a tie, you know, looking more, what would you call it, refined?
Right.
Refined look is problematic in our community.
Why is it problematic?
Because refined look also says responsible. There's nothing party-like about refined. There's nothing childish about refined. Refined is I'm here to handle business.
Right.
And the bulk of our community is not about handling business. That's not our thing. So, you know, we are come as you are people now.
Well, how's that working out for us?
Actually, I think we just basically went back to 1984. That's what I look at us as now. Like I spoke about this recently. You remember when people used to walk out the house with a shower cap on, rollers in their hair,
right?
A jerry curl under the shower cap, or people walk out with muumuus on. You know, your grandmother or your mom would come to school with flip-flops looking like she just got out of bed. We went right back to that. And it's like, I know how this is going to end. But people don't want to say I've been there before. You know, and I might be wrong in what I'm about to say, but I think there are a lot of black people who are just plain poor. There are a group of us that are poor, that are working poor, that are lower class, that they just they trying to get by. But there's a significant amount of us who just walking around trying to portray ourselves as poor because that's what black is supposed to be.
Huh. That's kind of strange.
I grew up, I know where you grew up, and I tell people I grew up in New Orleans, and then I moved to Chicago, then I moved to the DMV, then I moved back to Chicago.
Right.
And one thing I've never lived on the West Coast, but North, South, East, been all of those places. So I kind of got a feel for how things went. So I can, so I can tell the vibe of the area. Mm-hmm. Over the years, and because of my moving, because like I'm living in Texas now, I know the difference between somebody who grew up in the hood and somebody who grew up visiting the hood.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, it's the people who grew up visiting the hood. You know what? I'll make it faster. There are a lot of people who are Carlton trying to be Will Smith. Try to be Will in the Fresh Prince.
Right.
And they keep going home. We got a lot of people who are, what was that movie? ATL? New. Mm-hmm. You were raised in a better environment, but you want to act a certain way. And now you're making us all look bad. Mm-hmm. Because I wonder something that and you've read Psychology Today, and I'm sure you know about self-actualization.
Know a little bit about it.
You probably come across, Maslow, Pavlov, of course Freud, Jung,
right.
So on and so forth.
Know a little bit about it.
I don't think our community pays attention to that experience about self-actualization anymore. Mm. I think the church was our closest thing to self-actualization. And now, unfortunately, it's getting high.
Interesting. Yeah.
I wanna before look. Can I? This is really difficult. I'm thinking about it like this is really difficult to say this. What is the percentage of black men you think that can actually handle being refined?
I don't know. Thanks, maybe 20-25%. Something like that.
Okay. And that's a good number. But so what percentage do you think is resistant to being refined?
Resistant, I would say at least 50%. At least.
So we got let's just say 25% of black men who are on the fence.
Maybe. But it's being a refined brother, Kevin, and I'm going to use his scale here. He had 3 style personalities that he kind of marked out. One was refined, the other was rakish, and the other is rogue. And according to him, the predominant model today is rogue. So we're looking at least 50%, and I'm probably being conservative. And he felt that the smallest percentage was refined. Now I asked him one day. I asked him. I said, you talk about these style personalities. What style personality you think I am? Without skipping the beat, he said refined. He said you're a natural gentleman. You just got to bring it out. But that's who you are as a person. And he was right. So I would say that refined is like today in Black America. I would say refined is very 25% is probably being generous. Rather rare.
Because I think we think refined is soft.
Yeah, we think refined is soft. We think refined is pretentious. Now, you know what's funny about it? I got the most grief when I switched my style up to the world, not from Black women, but from Black men. I've got grief ever since. Black women just got quiet. Black women just got real quiet. They didn't say anything anymore. They just got quiet. And I wasn't doing it, to get their attention or approval or validation. I was actually doing it for business reasons. But it was an interesting side benefit. The argument that, if you just get your act together, the women will kind of solve themselves. There is a ring of truth to it. I don't want to go all the way out on a limb, but there is a grain of truth to it. And so they just would get real quiet. But it was the brothers for the past 4 years who just been giving me a hard way to go. That's the reason why I can understand where Kevin's coming from. I just got a little glimpse of what he dealt with. And
you were there.
Yeah, I was.
I remember when you first came here, and guys, and for you guys who don't notice and play dumb that were there, he came in this space talking about image. Guys gave him a lot of flack. And then secretly, in the cloak of the night, after about a year and a half, under the dark, like roaches when the lights cut off, crawl back to him like, I think you were right. I need to hook myself up. What do you think? But they wouldn't say they were doing that. They wouldn't say it publicly.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, to tell you the truth.
I remember when he made fun of, like, you can't go around here wearing a polo shirt and jogging pants, and guys lost their mind.
Yep, sure did.
Like, you can't wear a polo shirt and jogging pants. That is common sense. Like, what are you talking? But see, I'm looking at us as we think we can be intellectual and ignorant at the same time.
Talk about an oxymoron, but yeah.
So I gotta, I wonder sometimes, like, and it's gonna suck to ask this. Since we have the same duality as the ladies, we're gonna always take a bigger hit because they're gonna say you're supposed to be the leaders.
Well, what's interesting about the whole leader thing is, what are we leading exactly? Seems like to me the only thing that we're doing is just catching flack for all the problems. I mean, what areas of responsibility do we have? I mean, do we dole out punishments and do we punish friends and reward punish enemies and reward friends? I mean, exactly what I don't see exactly what it is that we're supposed to be doing.
If I say it, tell me if I'm off. Because I can't say what we're supposed to be doing. I have an idea, but I can say what's been happening and why we're not doing what people think we should do. Because what people want us to do is build something and have everybody else reap the benefit of it, except for us, the people who built it.
Right.
And I could use this space, the Black Manosphere, as an example to the people they don't want to actually reap the benefits of the Black Manosphere are the people who are most prominent in the Black Manosphere.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's no different than anything else I've seen Black men do in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So it's like, I need you to create something that feeds the community or is a revenue stream in the community that people can eat off of, but I need you to starve off of that same thing. And I think people have checked out. Like, I'm not doing nothing. And unfortunately, I don't know, it's like a chess stalemate. We already know who the winner is, but the person just won't make another move.
Yeah.
So it sucks. Oh shoot. I want to ask you something that you touched on the last time. We ain't gonna be on here all night. I get it, because we both
no, that's
doing
fine.
Stuff. With you and Miss Brown Sugar, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that how can I say this? Because guys, I'm finna hit y'all in the mouth. I'm being honest. People viewed you as one way. We talked about this initially.
Yeah.
But I think what was happening is you're seeing guys have an issue with, I think they assumed you couldn't have a functional relationship. And the fact that you are openly having a functional relationship, I think is effing with people's heads, because I think they were like, well, if he could do it, I should be able to do it. But if I'm not doing it, you get what I'm saying? Like, you really threw a monkey wrench in a lot of guys' style.
Well, like I said before, it was only in reaction to some long-standing stuff being said about me and by extension about her. So we just decided to do something about it and just put it out there. And so there are people that have trouble with that, and that says more about them than it does about either of us.
Yeah, that okay. Because I gotta do a show with Steph in a few weeks. We got to set that up. And one interesting thing about you and Steph in particular, right, is the quote unquote height dynamic.
Right.
Because when you are of a certain height, if you can do it, now the people who aren't that height, they have no excuse. The people who are taller have no excuse. The people who have the same ability to put in the same amount of work have no excuse.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I say you threw a monkey wrench in people's stuff, because now it's like you really rug pulled people and took their excuse from them.
Yeah.
And Kevin did the same thing. He took guys' excuse from them.
Well, I mean, the whole thing about height is I have talked about, the only reason why I talk about height, I just want to make this clear. The only reason why I talk about height is to highlight the hypocrisy of a lot of black women who talk about, unfair beauty standards.
Right.
And I say, well, if that's the argument, and they will say Eurocentric beauty standards. I said, yeah, but what about Eurocentric hypergamy standards? What about that? And we could talk about, height and stuff like that. I'm actually the average height of a man on the global stage. The global average height of a man is 5'7". That's me. But here in the United States, it's a bit taller, about 5'9", 5'10". Black women have a preference for guys well over 6 foot. I don't have a problem with preferences. I have a problem with the Lizzos of the world demanding nothing less but Tyson Beckford. That's what I have a problem with. And that's the only reason why I talk about height. That's the only reason. But personally, height has never been that big of a deal for me. And I've occasionally had a woman make a big deal out of it, but it's not been like a deal breaker, personally.
No, I don't think it's a deal breaker. I'm 5'8". I've learned a long time ago, and I told a brother this recently. You know, when people talk about manhood and masculinity, the most masculine thing you can do, in my opinion, is be true to who you are, and accept who you are as a person and work with your strengths and fix your weaknesses. And I don't think height is a weakness. You know, I think, you know, incompetence is a weakness.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I think. Right. But what winds up happening is, how can I say this? No, I'm not from Austin. In our community, you have the beauty standard of like you said, Tyson Beckford.
Right.
The issue with it is we're lying. Like, as much as people talk about compatibilities, relationships, sex, people don't want to peel back the layer and see who you have a history of sleeping with, since it's so important. And ladies don't want to admit it, because look, ladies, let me tell you something. I've been around the block. I know who some of y'all have been sleeping with and who y'all children's fathers are. And if I may back up and say this, the reason why there are so many quote unquote abandoned children isn't because dad's a deadbeat, it's because mom's ashamed to introduce a new man to the man that she had a baby with.
Right. So the reason why I brought up the standard with the men and the height is because there's so many brothers out here who are quote unquote fit all the standards, but they're not getting all the what do you call that? They're not getting the results. Because this Tyson Beckford thing is a people don't realize a guy that's over 6 feet, that's highly in shape. What would that be? 5% of our population? Yeah.
Because they're looking for like Olympic built, like they just think there's a bunch of Michael John Whites walking around here, and it's not.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. But brothers have that same issue. But yeah, I'm good on that. Nah. I've seen over the years less working out. I still work out 7 days and work and do this. Do other things. So I watched over the last roughly 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The bodybuilding thing has went up. Like, there are more guys who do bodybuilding type of, but people just being in shape. I've seen less and less in shape black people over the last. It went from people being completely out of shape to people going to the gym to, like, after the pandemic, people just falling completely. They're just falling away from it. Mm-hmm. So this attraction thing is losing me. Like, I don't know if you did you do a video on Swim Thick?
I did a whole live on it, and I'm waiting for my production guy to kind of chop it down. But yeah, I did a live on it. Yeah.
So that was here in Houston, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last one was held in Houston, like at the end of July. Yeah. Right.
So at the same time, there was another pool party at a hotel. Is it a hotel? I forgot what it's called. Clay or something like that. Clay. So there was another pool party with the complete opposite. The complete opposite of women. And if you and what's today's date? And in a week, 50 Cent's gonna have tycoon thing here in Houston because he lives here now. So that Swim Thick is gonna get out. The big girls had their 1 week, but the other girls were there at their own pool party. And next week is gonna be tycoon week, and it's gonna be nothing but strippers and be prepared to see a lot of videos of a lot of shenanigans you can talk about in about a week and a half. Mm-hmm. Because when Tycoon Weeks comes, it's gonna be a lot of people gonna be flying in. You know how people did the All-Star Game weekend and then the U-Hauls and all of that?
Right.
It's gonna be like that. But the problem is, this is like the hottest summer in Houston in the last like 20-something years. It was like 106 yesterday.
Well, it's that hot down there in Houston, and you got the swim thick pool. Well,
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
That's my point. That's like people aren't really paying attention to the dynamics. Like this city is one of the fattest cities in America. Every year.
Wow.
Just for
So it's one of the fattest cities in the country, but it also boasts the most strippers in the country, or one of the most strippers in the country.
Yes.
Wow.
There was a stretch when if you saw an in-shape black woman in Houston, she was either a stripper or she ran track, volleyball, and basketball in college. That was it. It was either one or the other, because you know, for all y'all to know, it's like is University of Houston, Texas Southern University.
Sam Houston's down there too, right?
No, Sam Houston is Nacogdoches, something like that.
Okay.
Rice University, and you can say Prairie View A&M because it's like 45 minutes away.
Gotcha.
So that was pretty much, you know, that's what college girls. Take that back. And Texas Women's College, like nursing college, was in the medical center. Stephen F. Austin in Nacogdoches. Yeah, sorry. So there was a good stretch from about, I would say, 2007 to like 15. So like this is one of the places I've learned about where because of Katrina, you had people from New Orleans coming. Because of the no state tax, you had people from California coming. This is an international city, so this is the most diverse city in the United States of America. So what I wound up finding out as I stayed here over the years, especially when it comes to the male-female dynamic, what happens is I saw those infinite options play out early.
Okay.
So I've witnessed the iterations of, and people, and you might have, this is Beyonce's hometown. I watched the whole city of black women wear blonde hair and try to be Beyonce for a good 7 years. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then Lizzo has ties to this city, so now the big girls are feeling themselves in this city now. Mm-hmm. Megan Thee Stallion is from this, so the women. And if you don't know, there was a stripper who was in a Drake video years ago, Malaya Michelle, and and her understudy was a young lady named Johnny Blaze, who's on reality TV, loving hip hops and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've heard of her. Right.
She like, let's just say
whatever. Yeah.
Right. Malaya Michelle was the big one, and Johnny was like her understudy or whatever. So this whole city became an amalgamation from Beyonce to Lizzo.
Right.
Now imagine when you talking about BFF. Imagine the type of guys they're looking for.
Yeah.
Because the dope boy been here forever and a day. So the rich guy, Texas guy, like Texas guys are respected abroad because of their acumen, not just business acumen, but financial literacy. Because these guys have money, you're trying to figure out what's going on in Texas, because you can be self-sufficient in this state. not legal.
Right.
And plus, the divorce laws are A1 in Texas. But I say that to say all that. Sorry about dragging on that for that point. But I say that to say you will see very soon how, and I hate to put it this way, the story I told you earlier about the little girl that the CPS worker told to sell herself.
Yeah.
All the way to the Tycoon weekend happening, and this being a city of amalgamation from Beyonce to Lizzo.
Yeah.
You're gonna see very soon there's gonna be more and more stories coming out in this area about the downfall of using sex as a weapon, especially for Black women. Because this was also the city where they told the mother stop coming to school with bonnets and in pajamas and with your butt out. So it's sad to say that, but and the guy, this is going to be Atlanta 2.0.
Looks like it. Looks like it's heading in that direction, brother.
It's going to be Atlanta 2.0 for y'all.
And I think they're going to do another swim thick down there too, I believe.
Yeah, because they did one in Chicago too.
Wow, really? I didn't know that.
I grew up there, so I know. So I got friends everywhere. Imagine people go live on Instagram and Facebook, and you see the same thing you see in Houston hotel, you see in Chicago, you see in New Orleans. You can they do. I don't know if you ever heard of trap karaoke?
No.
Okay, trap karaoke is a karaoke thing that goes to the House of Blues. So it's basically a tour. They go, Houston, Vegas, Chicago, Philly, Austin, Miami. They just travel, and it's basically, they call it trap karaoke, but it's just karaoke at a House of Blues on the stage, and you pick out people.
Wow.
Swim Thick is basically the same format. Basically the same format. We're going to take it here, then we're going to take it there, we're going to take it there, then we're going to take it there, then we're going to take it there. So wherever there's a predominant black population, Swim Thick will be there.
Interesting.
So expect it to come to your town.
Well, somebody, hopefully not, because I'm afraid somebody messing around and get shot. So hopefully not. But we'll see.
Oh, well, unfortunately, they just don't have to wear vests. That's how it's going to happen. Believe me when I tell you, that's exactly how it's going to happen. I ain't going to... We can talk about something else, or if you want to, we can shut it down, because I still got a pack.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, because you heading to what, Cancun or something?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, heading to the Gulf of Mexico. Well, lucky dog. Have a great time, man. And this has been great. We got to catch up when you get back.
Absolutely. And by the way, same thing. Me and my Gen X woman. That's where we're going. So it's a couple trip.
Very good. Very good. Have a great time, man.
Thanks, old man.
Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to shut it down because I got to pack and get out of here. So thank y'all for showing up. Catch y'all later. We're going to end this with the outro.
This looks like a job for Superman.
You do this,
Spoken from the lips of the young, of the old, bear a name.
Yeah. Gotta put it all in.
And they are Superman.
All the way. I guess I'm taking off the cake through the glasses in the trash. Being super is great, saving y'all is such a drag. Even God took a break, me I ain't coming back. I got one life to live, if you don't like it, that's your ass. Cause nobody saved me, plus when I walk I'm just a peon. I feel Most human beings took kindness for weakness. When you constipated, you start to appreciate shit. Put before you life and death, and you just gotta choose. The kryptonite life means you still follow the rules. If your credit's messed up or your bills ain't paid, then it's getting disconnected. Can't nobody say the day. And I can fly, leave a building in a single bound, but I can't stand fair weather friends, and I just fly around. My super friends in Justice League, only folk I kick it with. Kill Lex Luthor, so what? We had to finish it. Kids play games and adults play for keeps. And me, I play to win, but I ain't playing in these streets. And life is not a joke, then again, it ain't this serious. Superman can say the day, but God can say the Superman. Saga of the kryptonite, life just ended. You enjoy listening? Man, I finished it. Lois, come holler at me. I got an ice couch. Thank you. Coming out, listen. I knew you would like it because we made it. I'm so frigid and so fly.